guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching a video called Why Germans Can Say Things No One Else Can. So very interesting title. Let's find out. So come join me and comment, like, subscribe, and start.
We're hugely dependent on language to help us express what we really think and feel. But some languages are better than others at crisply naming important feelings. Germans have been geniuses at inventing long, or what get called compound words that elegantly put a finger on sensations that we all know, but that other languages require whole clumsy sentences or paragraphs to express. So here is a small selection of the best of Germany's extraordinary range of compound words. Erklärungsnot. Literally a distress at not having an explanation. The perfect way to define what a partner might feel when they're caught watching porn or are spotted in a restaurant with a hand they shouldn't be holding. More grandly, Erklärungsnot is something we feel when we realize we don't have any explanations for the big questions of life. It's a word that defines existential angst as much as
very existential.
Futterneid. The feeling when you're eating with other people and realize that they've ordered something better off the menu that you'd be dying to eat yourself. Perhaps you were trying to be abstemious. Now you're just starving. The word recognizes that we spend much of our lives feeling we've ordered the wrong thing. And not just in restaurants.
You're not feeling confident in your choice.
Literally a castle in the air, a dream that's unattainable. A word suggesting that German culture is deeply indulgent about big dreams, but also gently realistic about how hard it can be to bring them off.
Oh my god, this is so sad.
Gesicht. A face that's begging to be slapped. Generosity towards others is key, but German is bracing and frank enough to acknowledge that there are also moments when it's simply more honest to realize we may have come face to face with a dickhead.
Okay, yeah, understandably.
Lust. This word shows German at its most delightfully fetishistic and particular, meaning the delight one can feel at seeing ruins. Collapsed palaces and the rubble of temples put anxieties about the present into perspective and induce a pleasing melancholy at the passage of all things.
Oh, but it's melancholic.
Literally sorrow-fat. A word that frankly recognizes how often, when one is deeply sad, there is simply nothing more consoling to do than to head for the kitchen and eat.
Eat your feelings.
A word full of empathy that captures the agony one can feel at somebody else's embarrassing misfortune or failure. A capacity to feel Fremdschämen is a high moral achievement and is at the root of kindness.
It's like cringe.
Weltschmerz. Literally world sadness. A word that acknowledges that we are sometimes sad not about this or that thing, but about the whole basis of existence. The presence of the word indicates a culture that isn't falsely cheerful, but takes tragedy as a given. It is immensely reassuring to be able to tell a friend that one is presently lying under the duvet, suffering from Weltschmerz. Schadenfreude. We're meant to be sad when others fail, but German more wisely accepts that we often feel happiness, Freude, at the misfortunes, the Schaden of others. That isn't because we're mean. We just feel deeply reassured when we see confirmation that life is as hard for other people as it is for us. We can thank German for having so many of the right words to bring dignity to our troubles and hopes. Learning languages ultimately has little to do with discovering the world per se. It's about acquiring tools to help us get a clearer grasp on the elusive parts of ourselves.
You know what? That's very wise. Okay, yeah, love this video. It was incredible. I loved it. I wanted more. They have so many great words. I think it's so I think it's because they have like the compound words that really do allow for like a very rich language. It was, and at the end of the day, it wasn't like they're able to say this because like, oh, it's forbidden for the rest of us. No, it's just because they have invented words that literally do not exist in other languages because they literally like invented them, which I think it's great. It's like for feelings and emotions that you can't really express. which, you know, I love. Like, who hasn't? Because again, it's a very universal experiences, which I think it's very, you know, when you're like, obviously there's like the range of human emotion and human feelings. It's I think like very, very wide. I don't think you can like catalog every feeling, or you can name every feeling or every emotion. But I love that Germans certainly try, and we love them for it. It's like so many words that I think I love. I wanna introduce them to my vocabulary. I love the one where it's just like, I think most of them, which is funny, a lot of them are not super like, oh, they're not joyful or they're not happy. I think it's funny that a lot of the words, at least in this selection, I think we're more morose, if that's the word. You know, they're more, you know, they're not, you know, it's not bad, you know. I like it. It's like, but it's funny that a lot of them were just like, I think that the one that it's like closest to getting you like to, or at least putting into like in a positive, putting emotions in a positive way, in a positive light, is maybe the one about like this, you know, when you feel bad, when you feel like happy because someone else like has a hard time, you know, like someone falls, you're like, oh, you know, I feel good, you know, because it's not about being an insane psychopath. It's just, you know, like they said, it's like we're all struggling. It's like a reminder that everyone in life, you know, struggles. And maybe if you have a hard time with your life, it's not that, because I think it can be very easy to kind of like lost sight, especially if you're like very up in your feelings and you're all like, oh no, like nothing ever goes right for me, or like my life sucks. And it's like, oh, when you see someone that happens, you know, and you're witnessing something maybe not so good, something a little negative happening to someone else, it's like, oh, it's an equalizer. You're like, you know what, maybe not, but you know, my life sucks, but yeah, but everyone's life sucks, you know, like, who hasn't felt that way at some point? So I like that it's just like an equalizer, but that's just like a way to sort of like put your emotions, like, you know what, maybe we're all in the same boat of life. But it's like, that was like the happiest one, which I think is funny, because a lot of them were just like, oh, you're super anxious, you're sad, like you want to your feelings. It's like so many of them were like sad just in general. But I like it. It's again, it's like this. I love what he said. It's a culture, and you know, as a society, it's a society, and you know, because again, languages can, well, a language, and it really does, I think, can really do say a lot of how people usually are, because again, language, like he mentioned, like languages are, you know, our tool to you know, to express ourselves. And because obviously every language is going to be different, then, you know, it does, you know, learning a language can really do tell you. So sometimes it tells you a lot about how the culture works. So it's funny that they're like, I love it. It's like, it's okay. Like if you feel sad, and you know, it's, again, if you have like negative feelings and you don't have to be upbeat and happy all the time. It's okay. Like, it's okay to feel sad sometimes. And it's like, you know what? How good. I like that. It's like, it's part of being human. Like, not everyone is happy all the time, and you don't have to always put on like a happy face if you're not feeling it, which I love. It's very honest as well. You know, you don't have to like say like, oh yeah, everything's great if you're not actually feeling it. And I love that, which is like, I love the word, I can't remember it, but it was like, when you're just like sad in general because of like life events, you know, you can't pinpoint to something happening exactly. You're just like, oh, maybe you're just, you know, a little down because of like the futility of it all, or I don't know, it's very existential. So you're just like, I'm just sad. It's like, okay, and you can say this word, and you know, people are gonna understand you, and like, oh, of course I know what you mean, because I think everyone has felt that at some point. So it's like, it's great. I love it. I think we should all like use a lot of words, and most of these words, like, we can definitely adapt them and adopt them in our daily language, because again, they're very good. I think the one about the food one, it's so funny because I never thought of that. I never knew, of course, there was like, oh, so there's a word for it when you have like food envy, like, oh, because again, it's something very funny that I think it's a universal experience when you're like going out to eat, and because again, you know, you have like so many options, and you're always like struggling, oh, did I make the right choice? Like, because you have so many options that it's impossible to know if I made the right choice. And then you're feeling like confident, maybe you're like, yeah, you know what, I feel great I ordered this, and I feel good with my choice and with my selection. But then when you see like what your friend or what someone else on the table ordered, and you're like, oh my God, that looks so good. And then even though it's like you're technically should be happy and you were happy with your choice before, it's like you see something that looks good. And I think isn't that like so human to just be like, Oh no, but I want that one. It's like the grass is always greener on the other side. It's like maybe probably it isn't, but you just like you can't help but feel like maybe you're missing out on something. So it's like, no, theirs looks good. I should have ordered that. So I love the food envy one. It's like, oh my god, because who hasn't felt that? But I guess like again, it's related to that feeling of like, oh no, because you have so many choices and it's constantly like you're constantly having that anxiety to, and maybe it's something silly as food, but I think it can be also applied to other things in life. It's like, oh no, did I make the right choice? And maybe when you're seeing other people, it's like, no, they made better choices than I did. It's like, no, again, it's like I can't remember the name of the word, but I love the food envy one. And of course, the one about like, I think the closest one that I think we maybe have a word for it in another language is the one that was like when you're seeing a friend embarrass themselves, or maybe not a friend, but someone that they're embarrassing themselves, and you're just like, oh my god, like you just like you can't help it. Like it's like a car crash when you can't really help it. But like seeing it, you're like, oh my god, this is terrible. But I have to look. It's something like that. I think it's more like cringe worthy. I think I would say cringe but maybe I think the difference that cringe can be applied like when you know that you're being cringe as well. But I think it could also be applied to just in general when you're seeing someone. It's like, oh my god, that's so cringe. It's like secondhand embarrassment, and it's like that. I think maybe that's like the closest thing that maybe like it exists in other languages. But I love how specific they can get. I love it. It's like, it's the beauty of having compound words. I wish like more languages had that, because again, look how specific you can get. Like you can really do pinpoint exactly how I'm feeling. Like, you know what? I'm feeling exactly like this, and this like there's a word for it. You don't have to like constantly over explain yourself, because there's something that you can say and everyone understands exactly what you mean. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's like I get it. No need to explain. But yeah, this was incredible. Would love to know more words like that or more videos like this. And also I love the little illustrations. But hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'll see you soon. Bye.